Hey everybody. So this week we're continuing the conversation on the blog about hardwiring. This is the fourth installment in this series, and today I wanted to talk about the final drive. This one centers around certainty. So it kind of talks about certainty in two areas primarily. One is how much detail you want or need or like to have when you're making a decision about something. And then the second is how much structure or rules you want. So like all of the drives in our hardwiring, this one is impacted by other drives as well. In case you haven't guessed, mine tends towards less detail, more big picture. I prefer less structure, less rules. I don't mind knowing what the rules are, but I do confess to being a tiny bit selective about their application to me. Also, because my patience drive is so very low, see the last video for more about that, when the pressure is on, my ability to tolerate lots of detail goes way down. So it's probably pretty obvious how this can hurt me or get me into trouble. I'll give you one example from just this past week. There's a whole lot going on right now in our business and our farm and with our family. Stress levels are running a little bit higher than they normally do, you could say. And my decision-making style tends to be fast. And I have kind of a lack of attention to detail when it comes to making decisions. And this really hurt me this week because I didn't think through how much time various tasks and different commitments would actually take. I just kept adding things to the calendar, kept running faster to try to keep up, and ultimately it all caught up to me full force on the weekend when I reached a breaking point and found myself in bed all day. So not stopping to consider all of the details of a situation and how they're all adding up and how they affect one another, and really think it through in a very patient, thorough, detailed way, caught up to me this week and really physically affected me. There's also a way in which, of course, this hardwiring helps me. So when I'm working with a client, for example, who's stuck in the weeds of their dilemma, I can often see the big picture, both because I'm an outsider and because my brain is just oriented to look at the big picture perspective. So then I'm able to ask the right questions, and then they ultimately get themselves unstuck. They can get out of the weeds and find a solution because they are able to see a different perspective. I've also seen this when working with teams. So sometimes one team, I'll give you as an example, is heavily dominated by engineers. And this particular group of engineers, this is not true of all engineers, but this particular group of engineers is heavily dominated by people who share this tendency to kind of get stuck in details. And I've been in a few working sessions with them, and there's two people on their team that do have the ability to see the bigger picture and sort of see from a different perspective, but they're always overruled because they are not in charge of the team and because they're definitely the minority perspective in the room. So in facilitating sessions with them, I've been able to help them have a little bit more courage to speak up against the majority or to show a different perspective, and to help that perspective be validated by helping the broader team understand this is a hardwiring difference, and that actually the fact that they see it from a different perspective because of their hardwiring is actually a strength for that team. And when they can recognize that, that helps them go much further. So just like all these other drives we've talked about, obviously there are extremes to everything. My hope is that you can recognize yourself somewhere along the continuum. I think that once you're able to understand both the strengths and the limitations of your own hardwiring, it can truly, truly make a difference in how you lead. And if you're curious to find out what yours looks like, we are more than happy to help with that. As always, stay safe out there, be kind, and have a great week.